Bored of the snow by now? You're still stuck indoors? Well, we've got a treat for you this evening. Two of snooker's biggest stars going head-to-head, and each hoping to get their hands on this trophy with a record 5th Welsh Open title.
Yeah, I think the way Ronnie's playing this season and the way he's playing right this minute, I think I can tell how he's going to play. I think he's going to play really well, so it's up to me to try and lift my game up to the level to give him a game or to try and beat him. Because right now he just seems to produce a certain standard that's good enough to win tournaments.
I know how good he is. On his day, he's probably unplayable, so I'll have to improve on my first 3 matches. Not a lot, but I'd need to sort of find something a little bit extra, because if you give John them chances, he won't just win the frame, he'll win 2 or 3 frames, because he's one of them. Once he's like a stallion horse, once he gets going, he gallops and gallops, and you know, he's hard to hold on to. So I have to probably raise my game just a little bit to have a chance of winning, I think. I'm one of them that if I'm flying, I love it, and if I'm not playing too well, then I just have to dig in and forget that I'm not flying and just try and pop one ball at a time, and hopefully some sort of flow comes when I need it, sort of thing. So, yeah.
Obviously, the spectators will come and they want to see new young talent coming through, but I think they also respect now the older talent that's there and still fighting, still competing with the best players today. So, yeah, it's always good to have a good balance, I suppose.
Yes, a real clash of 2 snooker heavyweights here on quarterfinals day. A very good evening to Dominic Dale. Dom, this is what they've queued through the snow to see. 2 men in outstanding form at the moment.
Absolutely. I mean, John Higgins' performance yesterday, I was commentating on it, 2 consecutive centuries, the tournament's highest break of 144. He's just found his A game right at the correct time before this match tonight, and I can't wait to see it.
And also, we should say Ronnie has been faultless so far. 3 4-0 victories. It's been incredible.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, the guy's B game, there isn't one. He just seems to play well all the time. And, well, if there's one man that can stop him tonight, it could well be John Higgins. Because
we talk about Ronnie a lot, and understandably, he's a huge box office star. But John Higgins, he keeps on winning titles. He just has this ageless quality about him at the moment, doesn't he? Yes,
he does. You know, both players have got eminent respect for one another. If you ask John Higgins, who he most respects in the game, as I think most of the players would, it'd be Ronnie O'Sullivan. But if you ask Ronnie O'Sullivan, who he's got the most respect for, who might intimidate him, if there is anybody out there, it's going to be John Higgins, 4 times world champion, one of the game's all-time greats. And a real sense of anticipation here in the venue, I can tell you. Well, let's bring you right up to date on what's already happened today and who's already through to the last 4. First man who made it, Noppon Sangkam from Thailand, who knocked out world number 3 Judd Trump earlier in the week. He's through to his first ever ranking semi-final after victory over Ian Burns, the Englishman, heading back to 4-3 after going 3 frames down, but Noppon claimed frame 8 for the match. And then a man who knows exactly what it's like to reach the semi-final stage. Barry Hawkins has been in 3 previous ones at the Welsh Open, and he's into a 4th. He lost the first frame against China's Yang Bingtao, but came back strongly with century breaks of 137 and 141 to go through 5-1. Confirmation then of the first semi-final tomorrow, live on BBC 2 Wales at 1 o'clock. Barry Hawkins against Noppon Sangkam. Yes, and the other semi-final, which starts on table 2 at exactly the same time as O'Sullivan against Higgins, is another Chinese player, Yu Delu, against the Englishman Gary Wilson. Both games coming up in just a few moments. But Dominic, just a word on what we saw this afternoon. Sangkam, a relative unknown perhaps in snooker terms, but Barry Hawkins through to his 4th semi-final at this event. Yes, he's exactly what Barry Hawkins needed at this part of the season. He's had a terrible start to the season. Normally he does come through in January and start performing well, but it's been a couple of months later now. It's March when he's found some sort of form, and he needs to sort of push on from here because he does need ranking points. He's been struggling this season, Barry.
Well, we're just about ready for tonight's action. Let's just bring you the head-to-head between two men who really know each other inside out. You would think by now they've both been professionals for 25 years. They've met 61 times. They've already played each other 5 times this season. Ronnie's won 4. The last time they met, though, it was John who got the victory, beating Ronnie 5-0 in the quarters of the Scottish Open. We are ready then. It is time to get the players out here on quarterfinals evening and time to get the action underway.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the ManBet X Welsh Open. And first on table 2, a former China Open finalist, Gary Wilson.
Tell me won't turn me down.
And he faces the 2016 Scottish Open semi-finalist, Hugh Deleu. And now on table 1, it's the 4-time world champion, the Wizard of Wishaw, John Higgins. And he's up against another of snooker's all-time greats, a 5-time world champion. It's the Rocket, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Well, a mouth-watering game for us here on BBC Two Wales. It is Ronnie O'Sullivan against John Higgins. Your commentary team, Darren Morgan and Willie Thorne.
Thank you very much, Ian. Thank you so much. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And congratulations for all those who've turned up in this awful weather to watch 2 of the game's greatest ever components at this wonderful game of ours, snooker. Played each other, as you just saw on the caption earlier on, some 58 times, 32 to 26. Ronnie O'Sullivan's leading. But I think this could be a tough one tonight for Ronnie. He's in great form, as we know. But John Higgins is in superb form as well. This could be an absolute classic, Darren.
Yes, I couldn't agree more, Willie. Both players at the top of the game. John Higgins had a little bit of good rub there. That kiss on the yellow. I was talking to Ronnie this afternoon. I spent about an hour with him at the practice table, just chewing the fat, as we say, and he's in a great frame of mind, very, very relaxed. He's enjoying himself, so he should be with the way he's been playing. It's been quite believable, really. Late on, obviously, into his career, at his age, probably playing the best snooker he's ever played. John Higgins, he's not too shabby either. The last match was about as good as he could play.
Yes, it's tough to make a case for John Higgins, really, apart from the fact he's one of the game's greatest all-round players. Talk about maxims, Ronnie O'Sullivan's made 13, John Higgins has made 8. Centuries this season, Ronnie O'Sullivan 50 to John Higgins 35. And as I've just mentioned, played each other some 58 times, 32 to O'Sullivan, 26 to John Higgins. So I think it's just a case of who gets him first in this match. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if either player won. Ronnie O'Sullivan believe he's 1 to 2 favourite to win this match, which is about right. I just wish the weather hadn't have stopped a few more people arriving. It's the first time that Ronnie's played this season without a capacity audience. And there you can see the fabulous auditorium here at the Motorpoint Arena. Great venue, this. Players love to come to Cardiff. It used to be in Newport, this. Been moved to Cardiff.
That was a thin one. Nice easy starter now then for John Higgins.
So the first safety battle has been won by John Higgins. Now the second battle, he's got to outscore him. And a great chance here to do just that in this opening frame.
Only short for the cue ball. He did play for the black, but he's finished. Half ball on the pink. I think he can still get through to the black. Pink's the easier shot. So the pink now will go on the blue spot. I don't think he can. Yes, as I suspected.
7.
We can see that's a great camera shot that is with all the reds. There's about 4 in a row there, all go to that left corner.
Lined up like soldiers, aren't they? There's an amazing picture that.
8.
If this hadn't been the first frame, I think you'd have said that John Higgins would be clear favourite to score heavily here, but you know, it depends how quickly they're settled. I'd be very surprised if he didn't make at least 50.
Yes, he's going to get rid of these 2 reds below the black as quickly as possible. It'll make his life a lot easier in constructing this break.
15.
That's just about perfect. So if he can just roll through, he'll roll through for the red to the right corner. If not, he'll be dragging back and playing the red in the same pocket as this black. Little angle, so it'll be red in the same pocket as the black. Did he try to cannon that towards the corner pocket? Or did he play for the gap?
22.
Looking at that, I think he played for the cannon.
$23. $29.
Could have done with a little bit more pace. He'd ideally like to have been straight on one of these reds into the corner rather than at an angle, because then he could have run through for the black, but he can't do that now. He's obviously found some sort of gap to get up for blue, pink, or bought colour. That was a surprise. That wasn't the bad shot, it was the previous shot.
John Higgins, 29.
Now, if Ronnie could cue this nicely, he'd probably take it on. A different demeanour when Ronnie's playing John Higgins, because he knows that tactically John Higgins is as good as him. So Ronnie finds playing John Higgins a test. He's been blowing people away for the last few tournaments. I'd be very surprised if he blows John Higgins away.
Well, he's had a little sneaky look. Is that a plant to the right corner? That looks like it's straight on. He'll have to play the top red into the 2, because he can't get directly to these 2 reds, so this is a big shot. All depends on how close the 2 reds are together. If there's a little gap, there might be value in him. Well, he's playing safe, so obviously he doesn't think that plant is on.
Another excellent safety shot. Covered both the reds are in open play down the right hand side. Can't get to those. He's playing probably 2 cushions to rest behind the one that's nearest the pocket. Can't play 2 cushions thin to get back into baulk purely because he would leave a long red on. He's playing the negative one. Just containing safety.
Ideally, you want to play thin off the 2 reds that I said were a plant. He's frightened if he doesn't get cover then behind the yellow and the pink. He's going to leave one of these reds to the right corner. I think that's the shot to play. That plant now is gone. Where's he got the cover? No. And that's due to the fact he's caught the jaw with the cue ball. So there's an early tester now for Ronnie with his cue in.
Good news and bad news. Good news, he's been very, very lucky to have got a double kiss and potted the red. As you can see, what the bad news is. That's about the first long pot we've seen Ronnie miss this week.
Yellow ball.
Well, can you believe it? Okay, it's a very, very good hit, but to get the cue ball on the port cushion, very clever. That's what he played though, played it at half ball to try and cover the red up, but unfortunately for him it's left it sticking out, but by no means easy. Now is he going to risk just rolling it in for the black? I decided, wondering whether he did play the pot or not there.
You can see with both players how much respect they got for each other. Both taking their time. Against anybody else, I think Ronnie would have already got down and played this red to the left centre. He's going to elect to play safety.
First mistake in the safety department from John Higgins. That 29-point or 28-point lead will disappear very quickly if this red goes in. He's going to be perfect on the black.
1. Eight. 9. 16. 17.
So John Higgins had the first opportunity, made 29. Ronnie O'Sullivan's had the second one, he's on 24.
24.
And counting. And the balls are absolutely perfect for him.
Five.
He'll be way past the winning line before he needs the yellow. Should he get that far?
32.
Had a smile last night, John Virgo, my colleague in the commentary position, went out for dinner with Ronnie last night, and it took him about an hour to find a restaurant that was open. Cardiff was almost closed down, and they found a little Turkish restaurant in the end, and Ronnie went did a little triple salco with pike. He fell over going to the restaurant. Luckily for him, no injuries.
41.
Absolutely blistering cold here as it is, I'm sure, in most parts of the country.
48.
So 20-point lead. 4 reds, 4 colours. It'll be 1-0 O'Sullivan.
49. 56.
I'm pretty sure, Darren, Ronnie's made a 50 or above in every frame he's won so
57.
far. So he's obviously got his scoring boots on this week.
Yes, and I think that's what's his strongest part at the minute. Every time he's getting in, he doesn't look like missing. Misses the odd long one, except the odd safety shot, as he did in this frame to let John Higgins in at the start. But when he gets in amongst the balls, he's normally taking exactly what's there. Well, he didn't quite get that one. And he's not quite over the winning line, so John Higgins has got an half chance at least.
Just wonder whether John will risk playing the cannon onto the yellow and brown now, because he's bound to be on the pink or blue. Just play lots of left-hand side, try and bring brown and yellow into play, so he can clear at this visit. If he should he pot this and get nicely on a colour, that's what he's played. He's played it nicely, well played. Now all of a sudden, rather than being second favourite, he's got every chance of clearing at one visit. Excellent first shot that to bring brown and yellow into play.
Yes, the red that Ronnie missed, it wasn't an easy red. It was, by his standards, a poor positional shot from the black to the red. Nevertheless, as Willie called it, that was a clever shot by John Higgins. It's all about this now. Needs good position, needs that cue ball to slow down. And he's going to do well to pot it from there.
4.
Just 2 inches too hard, wasn't it? Because he'd probably still take the pot on, but he's so close, he'd be worried about hitting the cue ball twice. That's why he's refusing the pot. As you would expect, a very good safety from John. A little
John
unlucky not to
Higgins,
have snookered him.
4.
Well, he hit that one all wrong, but I think he'll settle for it. John can get through this red to the right corner, and he might be forced into playing it.
Do you think he played the double kiss safety shot there, Darren?
It was good call.
Not
No.
sure. Oh,
Yeah, no, I think he's tried to play it half ball, hasn't he, and just put it up near the past the middle pocket on the side cushion maybe, but I think he's fortunate he hasn't left this a lot easier than what it is. John was a long way off.
I've got to be honest, of all the class of 92, Mark Williams, Ronnie O'Sullivan and John Higgins, that's the only part of the game that John Higgins has fell behind a little bit with. His long game I don't think is as consistent as Mark Williams and Ronnie. Certainly has good in every other department. So this is 2 cushions, this is easily missable. He can easily get too much side on this. Oh, he played the swerve, a slow swerve. Very good. The way he's aiming, I thought he was playing around 2 cushions to hit it. But hit it nicely. So 32 points in front is Ronnie. I think he's left an edge sticking out. That would disappoint John. It was a good chance there to put Ronnie in big trouble.
That's about as good as you can play that shot. Very good indeed. It's been a funny sort of a first frame. Thought they're both going to come out fireworks. It's been a real nail biter. So not only has John got it this red, otherwise he'll require a snooker, he's got to somehow get it safe as well.
Foul.
Well, that's the worst scenario for him. Not only
Ronnie
missed it,
O'Sullivan, 4.
he's left the easiest of pots for Ronnie. So it's going to be Ronnie definitely take a 1-0 lead in this match.
Yes, it would
One.
disappointed John Higgins because there are 2 really good chances in this opening frame. His safety, as you would expect, has been there, but 2 glorious chances in the balls.
6.
Can't afford to let any chance escape this evening the way Ronnie's been playing throughout this tournament.
8. $11. 15. 20. 20. $26 in the frame.
Doesn't worry about the black, largely due to that break of 64 early on. John Higgins had a couple of chances, didn't take them. Ronnie O'Sullivan takes the opening frame to lead 1-0.
Yes, top-class quarter-final snooker action for you this evening. Just a reminder, by the way, if you were expecting to see the Blues Pro 14 game against Benetton, that game was called off yesterday. So we're with you right throughout the evening and enjoying this one, Dominic. Two of the game's greats in action. And it was difficult this time, as we expected for Ronnie at the start. But then, as soon as John Higgins failed to find his way out of that snooker, we saw ruthless Ronnie again.
Yeah, absolutely. It was going to be tough to call this one, I think. This is worthy of any final. John Higgins v Ronnie O'Sullivan's always one of the game's ultimate matchups, really. But, yeah, I mean, John certainly had his say in that first frame. He had his opportunity early on. Didn't quite score as much as he needed to. He had the chance to lay a snooker there on the last red, and Willie alluded to it. He normally would have done. He just left an edge sticking out. Ronnie played a killer safety. Snooker John Higgins failed to escape from it, and ultimately that cost him the frame in the end. But they've both got a feel of the table now.
The body language is pretty much the same from Ronnie, isn't it? Just picking away at the old fingernails once again. You know, we've seen players talking to us here in the practice room saying, you know, we're terrified of playing Ronnie at the form he's in at the moment. But John Higgins, clearly he's not terrified. I mean, he knows Ronnie inside out, and he's a good match for him.
Yeah, if there's anybody that's got the ultimate respect for John Higgins, it's Ronnie O'Sullivan. He will be wary of John, but now he's won that first frame, it should have settled him down.
Long way to go then. First of 5 makes it through to the semi-final. Remember, best of 9 at this stage. Let's rejoin it with Ronnie 1-0 in front.
Yes, and I think in the context of this match, that man there, he's more than happy with the way things are going at this moment in time in his career. But it's John Higgins, I feel, it really needs to win this frame, get himself on the board to settle down. I know that'll come across as a bit of a silly statement, player of his calibre and what he's achieved in the game, but when you go out there, the butterflies don't go until you get that frame on the board. And he knows he had a couple of chances last frame and he didn't convert them. I mean, Ronnie at the minute in the mood he's in, he just railroads players, gets on top of them, and that's the end of that. So big frame.
Tempted to bring the black into play here by playing safe, but he won't gain the advantage on the safety. I don't think he can play it slow enough to glue the white to the back of the black. He feels he can. Yeah, I didn't think he could. He'd virtually have to leave that touching ball to have snookered Ronnie on all balls. All that's done is definitely freed the black up, so whoever pots the first red would have every chance of getting a sizable lead in this frame with the reds in the position they are. Won't be taking the pot on here unless he takes the double on. No attempt at the double either.
He's going to be lifting the butt of his cue right up here to get under this cue ball, to get the cue ball back to this back cushion. I was going to say that ain't too bad, but I think he's left the red. He might have been a bit fortunate with that red coming through the pack, otherwise he left this straight red to the middle pocket. If that red hadn't come back, Ronnie could have just pulled back for the black. This is going to have to go in. Pulled it to the jaw. He was worried then. If he'd potted that into the middle of the pocket and missed it, he'd have left this red that the cue ball's resting on to the corner. But nothing easy for John. He has got this red to right centre. But again, it's fraught with danger.
I think he probably could play this as a shot to nothing down. I think if he leaves the cue ball where it is now, sorry, where the red is, well, he's playing up for the blue, so he's running through. So as you're right to say, it's going to be fraught with danger now playing it this way. But then it's gone very nicely on the blue. He was disappointed in the first frame when he got in the balls not to score plenty. He should score plenty here.
Six. Sure. Seven. Twelve. Thirteen. 18. 19. 24. 25.
Now, at the business end, he's going to have to play one cannon into that bunch of 6, just below the pink, in the next 2 or 3 shots' time. May decide to take the 2 reds in baulk and go into them off the blue. So he's probably thinking to himself, I've got a nice 32-point lead. 4 reds, 4 colours will put me best part of 50 points in front. So I only need one of those reds in that cluster. And John Higgins is one of those players like Ronnie. Doesn't necessarily go into the pack unless it's absolutely necessary. Could play it now though. He's bound to be on the loose red. Well, it couldn't have worked out better, could it really, the split? Apart from he's slightly hampered for the next red. Played it to the pace where he expected to be dead straight on the red in the left-hand corner. Just caught that front red half ball rather than full. He needs one more good shot, and then it should be a frame winner.
Yeah. One.
That was an excellent recovery red he played, wasn't it, to get nicely on the black again. Already made 4 centuries in this Welsh Championship, the Welsh Open. This could be number 5 coming up, the way the balls are.
49.
Yes, and this is more like the standard he was playing last night. He had 2 one-visit frames, total clearances. It's very, very good.
54.
And this looks like normal service has been resumed. So he's just coming close now to securing a second frame. So there'll be no heroics.
$59. 60. 65. 66.
'The second frame now is well and truly in the bag. Now that black has gone in.
73.
I mean, John will be trying to clear up and make a century break. I think even if he misses, Ronnie will just stay in his chair.
74.
So all of a sudden this is warming up into the match we all thought it would be. Only had a good break of 64 in the first frame. John Higgins have compiled this 80 very nicely indeed.
81.
Beautiful cueist of the ball, John Higgins. It's quite a long cue action. He has compacted it over the last year or so.
88.
Used to have a very long final backswing and then decelerate on his final delivery.
89.
In full flow, he is lovely to watch.
96. 97.
So his 5th century this year's Welsh Open. How well did he strike that?
104. 106.
Well, the remaining 5 colours now. Should be a 131 clearance.
109.
And this will have definitely settled him down and made him feel a lot better, because I'm sure he'd have had reservations after the first frame, having them 2 opportunities and not doing much with them, and eventually
113.
losing that first frame. Well, he's missed the blue, but he can't believe he's missed the blue. He's not going to be too bothered. Ronnie stayed in his seat, which we always knew he would. At least John Higgins now, he's going to make a match of this, 1 frame apiece.
Yeah, and looking really good, the 4-time Welsh Open champion, and also a key stat, he got the highest break of the tournament so far yesterday in his 4-0 whitewash of Nigel Bond with the 1-4-4. You get the sense that it's going to be fine margins that determine this game. 2 old masters of the game at work here. I mean, it's just been superb.
Yeah, I'm really glad for this match that it's 1-1 now. Both players have got a frame on the board. They'll both be settled now, because you don't really settle down until you get your first frame on the board. And it was always difficult to call. I remember doing an interview a couple of hours ago with a couple of friends from daffersnooker.com, and I was asked, who I thought would win this match. And I was struggling because they're both great players. There's very little to choose between them. But I just fancied Ronnie 5-3, and now it's 1-1. I could be right, but it's a tricky one. They're both just tremendous players. I'm so impressed with John Higgins, because he had a chance in the first frame. Ronnie won it. And then, they treat every frame, these top players, as a separate entity. They don't carry forward baggage from a previous missed ball. And John Higgins put an excellent red in that last frame to get going, and he's won the frame off it in 1 visit. That's what he needs to do to keep Ronnie under pressure.
High quality stuff then so far. Can they keep it up? 1-1.
And Ronnie O'Sullivan, of course, that's the first frame he's lost in this tournament. Won every match 4-0. 3 4-0s, and now he's lost a frame. Interested to see how this match pans out. I agree with Dominic, this is a very, very hard one to call. Both these players must get a buzz every time they play each other, because they know they're going to have to play well. I remember a match last season that John Higgins beat Ronnie 5-0, so it does happen. And that's a poor safety shot, which Ronnie hasn't been doing all this week. So John Higgins, I would imagine, would take the long one on. As I said, that's one part of the game where he's not quite as consistent as he used to be, the long game. Still very, very good, obviously.
Yes, I think the problem is, well, if he doesn't get this red, he'll leave the red nearest the corner pocket, won't he? Well, there's no problem with that. Straight into the middle of the pocket.
3.
The pink is clearly available, but he can't get onto the black. So ideally, I'm not too sure where the pink will go when it's been potted. So maybe it'd be better playing for blue or bought colour off this, but too difficult to get to a blue or bought colour from this red. Now, if the pink gets tied up, a lot of work to do.
4.
Maybe he had to just screw back off the pink and try and leave the 3/4 ball red, the one just above the black, and then he can flick the other red out of the way, still be on the black. This is the key shot, needs to get the perfect angle on the red just above the black. And how's the angle? It looks pretty good to me. So pot this, flick the red away. He's got them back in prime position.
If anything, he's probably hit that pink a little bit too good. Like Willie said, he can still move this red off. He probably would have liked this just to add a little bit more of an angle on. Just wants to catch the outside of the red. If he catches it full ball, he'll end up being too close to the black.
Thank you. 10.
Very, very well. You can see what I was on about. If he'd caught that any fuller in the face, that red, he'd have been right on that black. If he'd caught it a little bit thinner, he'd have been further away from there. You couldn't really do a lot other than just make sure the black and leave himself this one to the right centre.
18.
I mean, the pack is perfect if he could get the other side of the blue, but with this he's virtually straight, so he's just going to stun the cue ball, which he's done. He's got a nice angle on this black, so if this next shot goes right, he could be in real business. Ideal world, you want to catch the red to the right of the pink. He just caught it a little bit full in the face.
Yes, he did play to hit the red, not the pink. And as you saw there, he virtually hit the red and the pink at the same time. But usually able to play a telling safety shot whenever he does play safe. Let's just see how good this safety shot is. As you'd expect, pretty good.
John Higgins, 26.
Felt he could bend it round the green a little bit to catch the edge of the pack to take the cue ball back into baulk. A couple of looks at the pack of reds if he comes off 2 cushions to try and lay in them, but surely that's a little bit dangerous. The only reason I say that, he could push. He doesn't rest on them, he'll leave one in the middle. This might be pink, I think. No, it's okay, there's a left one in the middle. Is there a gap? Red available in both middles, and I was surprised the way he played that shot, to be honest.
There's a little bit of a panic going on there with John Higgins. You can see that red going close to that middle pocket. But it stopped short.
Thank you. 7.
Nicely on the blue. So there's enough reds now out in the open. He hasn't got to do a lot. Just keep tight control of the cue ball.
13. Fourteen. 20. 21.
Break 21, lead 47. 2 more loose reds, which will, in turn will open up another 2 reds. This red here you see is playing now. So he doesn't have to play any cannon to make the frame safe.
28.
And Ronnie O'Sullivan, he wasn't aware of it before this evening started. He knows that John Higgins is in very good form, so he's going to have to play his best snooker to win this match. We always knew it was going to be a battle. They must love playing each other, these two, because they know that they're both gladiators in this game.
29.
No quarter given at any stage.
Six. 37. 44. 44.
Not the perfect angle on the black. He'd like to play the stun up into the pink, but just a little bit too straight to do that. Trying to bring this red into play, which he has done. Brilliant, well done.
51. 52.
Once again, not the greatest of angles. Probably play for the red behind the black spot now. So the idea is you'd like to screw back and play the black into the same pocket as the red, because then it makes the
57.
cannon on the pink a lot easier off the next black. Try to pinch the pocket, try to pinch it too much, but very, very good break again from John Higgins. 130 in the previous frame, 57 in that frame. John Higgins takes the lead for the first time at 2-1.
Yes, and he's looking in pretty good shape, John Higgins, as he has done throughout this tournament so far. Back with it in a moment. Over to table 2, though, because, of course, the other quarter-final of the evening is going on simultaneously. It's Yu Delu, the Chinese player, against Gary Wilson. And Wilson tucking the black away there to take a 1-0 lead in that one. We'll keep a close eye on how that progresses. In terms of the one we're focusing on, it could be a much tougher night. Well, we know it's going to be a tougher night for Ronnie O'Sullivan. It could be a much tougher night for him because John Higgins is looking in pretty good form.
Yes, and he's won 2 consecutive frames there. And Ronnie O'Sullivan hasn't potted a ball in either of those 2 frames. So I think something like 196 unanswered points now. So finally this week, Ronnie O'Sullivan is under a lot of pressure. How's he going to respond? Because he hasn't had to this week so far. So this 4th frame now is going to be a very important one, I think, for Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Do you think he needed this, though, Ronnie O'Sullivan? You say he's not been under any real pressure this week. He's got those 3 4-0 victories. I don't know, you almost get bored, don't you, if you're just winning so easily. Did he need a big challenge like this?
Ronnie does like to be tested, but maybe not in sort of quarters, semis or finals of big tournaments. or I think Ronnie doesn't mind being tested by players that he still feels he can overcome and beat. But John Higgins, well, I mean, you can't find a more hardy competitor than John Higgins. I mean, there's pressure on John Higgins as well, because now he knows that if he can win the next frame to be 3-1 ahead at the interval, he's got some sort of gap, some sort of leeway, and that would really put pressure on Ronnie. But, you know, they're so aware of each other. Every frame's a challenge for both of these guys.
And other than sheer talent, can you find any kind of pattern, any reason why the likes of Ronnie and John Higgins and Mark Williams as well are doing so well in their 40s, whereas the younger players, the likes of, I don't know, Judd Trump, who's supposed to be a big star, Neil Robertson, you know, are perhaps struggling for form at the moment, Ding Junhui as well?
I think a lot of it, you've got to look at their style of play. Judd Trump, I feel, has to be on his A game to play at his best and be effective. And if the pots aren't going, he's susceptible to defeats. And that's why Judd and others struggle.
Whereas these two have been there, done it, got the T-shirt, all that kind of stuff. Well, one more frame then before we have a mid-session interval, and John Higgins 2-1 up.
So then, as Dominic said, Ronnie's finally got something to think about. How is he going to respond and answer the questions? That's the big thing. Well, he responded with his break-off, was snookering John Higgins on all 15 reds.
Foul. You miss. Ronnie O'Sullivan 4.
Ronnie would love to take this red on, but the white's pretty close to the cushion. I know it's a very risky shot that John Higgins is playing, but if he gets it right, the cue ball will be back on the baulk cushion. Obviously, if he hits it thick, the white will stay in the middle of the table. But it's not a straightforward escape, this. Same again.
Foul. You miss.
Oh, is this a free
Ronnie
ball?
O'Sullivan
No,
5.
it's not a free ball.
Yep.
Just coming to see if it's a free ball or not. Does he want him to play from there? No, he's having it replaced. That's what Ronnie was worried about. You see, he'd have loved to have took the long red on, but he knew that if John Higgins played it well, he'd get back into baulk. But he's hit that too well. He's come out of baulk. So Ronnie can play this around the back of the black, loads aside.
Yes, I'm not a big fan of that two-cushion snick, even though majority of the players these days seem to play him very, very well. Never been comfortable with that shot. I always look for an alternative. It's a good safety by John Higgins. And Ronnie now is snookered on all 15 reds. He's playing a little roll into the side of the pack. And he's played it well. And if this is a touching ball,
It's touching ball.
and it is, it's a nice easy return now for John Higgins. He should have Ronnie in a lot of trouble after this next shot because he's got a free hit. Albeit, awkward cue in if he goes over the top of the reds. Just having a little look to see where he can put him in the most trouble possible.
People at home may be wondering why he's playing this off two cushions, because at least you're coming into the baulk cushion at an angle where you can get within a couple of inches of the baulk cushion, whereas if you play one cushion, it's very, very hard to judge the pace. So you're coming in that way, you're virtually guaranteed to get the cue ball within an inch or so of the cushion. That's the reason he played it two cushions rather than one. Ronnie's very bemused there. He thought he was just pushing that into the pack. The fact that he called it half ball has left this very easy opening red on for John.
One.
Give himself a little bit to do here with the pink, but he's still got the angle to obviously bring reds into play. That three ball plant's not on to the right of the pink, but the plant is on to push the red towards the corner pocket. But it'd like to have been a little straighter than this. Surprising choice, playing the screw into them. Could have ran them in, he'd have been pushing the red that's just missed the pocket there over the pocket.
It was a confident shot, though, wasn't it? He didn't hold back with it. I think if this cue ball was a little bit further off the cushion, it'd have been a right result. As it is, this is not a gimme. But all of a sudden, it's that cue ball to slow down. Oh, a nice kiss on the yellow. Well, he has got a shot on the yellow. It's a thin snick to the corner pocket, but it's all John Higgins at the minute. He started to play very, very well. Oh, I think if he wasn't quite as thin on this yellow, and if the cue ball was a little bit further away, he'd be going for this, trying to come off the side cushion and go into that cluster of reds below the pink. But he might be forced into just playing for the loose red. As you can see there then, he'd be bridging over the brown, awkward cue in. He's in control in this match at the minute, so he's not going to take any unnecessary risks. He plays a little roll up.
John Higgins 8.
So he's keeping control at the moment.
foul. Miss John Higgins 6. Can you check it for me, please? Yeah, it's all right. Thank you.
Decided on a different escape this time, 2 cushions. That's pretty good.
Well, I don't think it'll be too long before they might be saying, should we have a re-rack? Unless Ronnie obviously can play to this back cushion. That's what he's looking at. But it's going to give John Higgins a real easy safety. So there won't be no re-rack now. I think the shot Ronnie's just played, he's left this red to the left centre. Might have been in his interest just to roll back into the pack. I'm sure that's what John Higgins thought was going to happen when he went back to his chair.
Yes, Ronnie decided to play an aggressive safety. Obviously he didn't expect to push this red out. That's not there though, so it's worked in his favour really. Played that aggressive safety, opening reds up, and he's been given a lifeline. Didn't expect John Higgins to miss it by so far. Now it cuts in without a problem, but can he get round the back of the bunch and miss the 2 reds and the black, getting back out for the blue? So he's round the back of the pack. Is he round the back of the black and blue? No, he's not. Always going to be a problem missing one of those balls on the right hand side.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 1. Touching ball.
There's Ronnie O'Sullivan now. He's weathered the storm. He's got the slight advantage now. He's got a free shot with the cue ball. Other than, like I said, awkward cueing. And if he gets it right, John Higgins could be in a little bit of trouble. He didn't want to leave a shot on this red to the right corner. But he's got such a good cue ball. I'm not quite sure if John Higgins can have a go at this red and miss the cluster. He could, because he's caught that thin and he's still managed to miss that pack of reds. I think Ronnie can get through to this red, and if he can, he'll definitely be going for it. So this is the first half chance he's had now for about 2 frames, and this isn't easy.
It's such an easy safety shot to play the thick safety off the pack if you can't see the red. The fact that the green's off its spot doesn't help, but he should be able to get in behind the brown spot area. Decided the safest place was down the right hand side. And that's pretty good. There is an edge sticking out one to the left of the pink. There's an edge sticking out to the right of the black on those reds. But nothing straightforward. We'll virtually be playing the plant here, but he'll be taking the cue ball back in the same place where it is now. Oh, I didn't see that little one. But unfortunately for him, he's caught the jaws.
It looked in though, didn't it? It looked in. Now if that had hit the far jaw, that would have gone in. This is the first chance Ronnie's had for a little while.
There's one thing for sure, Darren, the person who enjoys cup of tea at all will be Ronnie O'Sullivan. He's been kept off the table. He's just been hanging on to John Higgins' coattails the last 2 and a bit frames. Ronnie can get out of this little mini session 2-2. He'll certainly be the more delighted of the two. The mistakes are starting to come. Widen the angle so much.
8.
And there you see the table time. John Higgins has been dominating table time. Some 2/3 virtually. Ronnie will be very disappointed that only getting 8 from that visit.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 8.
Well, a little wry smile on John Higgins' face. That's done everything but go down the pocket. So all of a sudden, John couldn't believe he was coming back to the table so soon. And I bet Ronnie O'Sullivan can't believe his luck that he's got left a gimme. But how close was that?
It's amazing, the last 2 pots he's played. I mean, they seem to be gone in all week, haven't they, off that jaw, but once again a very poor shot from Ronnie. Played to get by those 2 reds, leave him in the corner.
8.
He's just going through that little spell that all players get now and again where the timing is not quite right. His timing has been to perfection all week. Yeah, he's not with it at the minute. Ronnie O'Sullivan is very vulnerable at this moment in time. John Higgins has to capitalise.
Well, as Victor Meldrew would say, I don't believe it. You really feel now this is John Higgins' real chance. Well, and he's missed as well, so this is going to go down as one of them frames. He knows how important that was, John Higgins. If he could have made a substantial break there, to have gone into the interval 3-1 ahead. This might have been too far a match for Ronnie O'Sullivan to pull back, but now he's just been gifted the easiest of starters. This is his 3rd perfect chance now, Ronnie. For the last couple of months, it's been 1 chance snooker he's been playing every frame.
John Berg and I were talking about how Ronnie break build's different to other players. Most players now would have been playing the blue into the pink, knowing he's got the red in the middle or the red in the corner. Ronnie doesn't like to rely on luck when he splits the balls. That's why he's played for one of the loose reds. He
5.
likes to play in areas where he's got options.
Well, you just can't believe this.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
You just can't
5.
believe it. Unbelievable. John Higgins, how relieved is he?
Ronnie's quite simply, Darren, missed more balls in this frame than he has done the whole tournament. This is his 4th match.
1. Six. Seven. Twelve. Thirteen.
It's a well-controlled little shot, so John Higgins seems to have weathered this little mini storm. Both of them missing all over the shop. Well, he's hit the wrong ball
21.
first, and now he's out of position. He must have thought he could get through to that red. He need to have just played that with a little bit of right hand side to have transferred. On the object ball, this is a thin snick on this black. So we're going to see another switch around in this frame. We are, because he's over chipped it. Well, this is quite unbelievable.
Higgins 21.
Probably the 2 best players at the minute on form. And at the moment, they can't pot a ball.
It's like watching a Conservative Club League match at the minute, isn't it? Players, they both had 3 very, very easy shots to pot to score and haven't done. Well, Ronnie knocked this long one in. That's better.
Yeah.
Just not with it at all at the minute, Ronnie. Completely mishit that as well.
8.
His little wry smile, you can see it there. You just can't believe that he's had the cue ball on a piece of string all week. It's not on a lasso at the minute. Good recovery though.
9.
Well, the only place he didn't want to be was dead
14.
straight. He's laughing, and that's where he is. So just make sure of the red, and he'll be
15.
rolling up behind the green and the brown. He's got himself in the driving seat in this frame now.
Just wonder, Darren, whether he'll play this a little bit harder to try and bring the green into play, but he has decided not to. Well, he has brought the green into play.
Ronnie O'Sullivan,
Good thinking that.
15.
'Cause he knows that if he gets a chance to pot these 2 reds and 2 colours, he will need the green.
Well, I don't think that's the red that John played for, but he'll take it. I think he was playing to nestle onto the red on the black cushion. I think he could be in trouble again after this shot. Well, Ronnie's lost the cue ball there. He's actually given John Higgins a shot at this red to the left centre. It's not easy, and John might decide it's not worth the risk. I think this is one of them frames both players will want to forget about and be glad the interval comes.
Another strange choice of shot, because I'm sure Ronnie can square around the brown and pot this red. Johnny Higgins hopefully trying to get the white tight on this side cushion. So a lot of mistakes, more mistakes in this frame from both players than both players have made in the whole tournament.
There's value in going for this pink, because now he has put the green near the centre. If he can finish right behind this red, he's only going to have to drop the red in. And it's just about perfect. That is a that's probably the best shot of this frame played.
7.
So he won't be doing any heroics with this red, just making sure he makes the pot and gets out enough that he can get back to the yellow from the green, which he's done.
8.
So it's going to be the green, yellow and green to put himself safe in this 4th frame.
Well, we won't know for a little while, Darren, whether this is the frame that's going to
11.
cost John Higgins the match. I'm really surprised that John Higgins, playing so well, has suddenly really struggled to win this 4th frame, where he's had about half a dozen chances. You don't get too many chances against O'Sullivan. John Higgins could have missed the boat here.
13.
Still be 2 each though.
Foul.
Well,
Ronnie
I've seen it all.
13.
Ronnie's potted the green
John
to win
Higgins,
this
4.
4th frame, trying to move the brown. He's clipped the brown and landed up in the centre pocket. So this frame is still not over.
It's amazing, isn't it? Absolutely amazing what's happened this frame. I don't think I've seen a frame like this from these 2 great players before. Just as you rightly say, Darren, just flick the brown, and it wouldn't have gone in off by the flick on the brown. Amazing.
Three.
Not too sure whether the double's on. He might have to square it up a little bit with left-hand side. But John Higgins is one of the best doublers in the game if he decides to take it on. Try to square it up and squared it up too much. Just hit it a fraction too hard.
3.
Well, he's having a good look, Ronnie. I think John Higgins can get past this pink to the brown. So again, that was a real poor safety by Ronnie's standards. This has been a real strange frame, it has to be said. Both players have had their chances. And John Higgins has played a very, very well controlled slow drag. That's going to be just about perfect. That's what he said, I don't know, 5-10 minutes ago. If it went in at 2 each, Ronnie O'Sullivan would enjoy his cup of tea. The more out of the two.
15.
Once this black goes in, it's going to be John Higgins is going to enjoy the mid-session interval. Well, it's one of the strangest frames I've had the pleasure of commentating on at this year's Welsh Open. Ronnie O'Sullivan will be absolutely devastated to have thrown that frame away, but John Higgins gave chances, but he's managed to scrape over the line. He takes a 3-1 lead.
Well, no wonder John Higgins looks pretty pleased as we go into a 15-minute mid-session interval. Lots for Ronnie to think about. He's not dropped a frame in his previous matches. He's dropped 3. Dominic, here tonight, and it's the first time we've been hearing the sort of words of mistakes, misjudgments and missed pots.
An extraordinary frame, that one, between these two. If ever two players were aware of each other, you could see it there. There were so many simple missed pots, probably because we're going to have a look at them. This was missable, definitely. Had to hold for the blue, so probably wanted to pot that one slightly thickly to hold for the blue. John, as a result, had this opportunity, wobbled the red. You know, if he'd have potted that red, he'd have probably made a break from it. Well, this one from Ronnie, I'm very surprised he missed this one. That was the easiest one of those 3 to date.
Yeah.
Ronnie
It was,
O'Sullivan,
absolutely.
5.
You can see the little look on his face as he walks away. And this one.
Yeah, this was a very, very tough cut back. I was amazed he overcut that, actually. Did well to overcut that. The problem there was actually hitting it thin enough to pot it in the first place, and he hit it too thinly. But an amazing frame, that one. They were so wary of each other and the scoreline and the importance of that 4th frame. And in the end, it was Ronnie's. He's on the green with the rest. He pots the green.
Key shot you're talking about here.
This one here. I mean, I think this puts him 29 ahead, does it? I think with 22 on. An incredible... He's tried to cannon the brown off there. He didn't need to, but the chances of him going in off there were so slim. And in the end, it's cost him the frame. And I mean, Ronnie will be devastated to not be 2-all now. And at 3-1 down, the interval's come at a good time for Ronnie. And he needs to win this next frame, otherwise he could be really out the match.
Devastated, you think? I mean, he'll feel that down about it, will he?
Listen, when you're Ronnie O'Sullivan, it's very, very rare a top player like Ronnie or a John Higgins or Mark Selby will throw a frame away. That's what happened there, really. And Ronnie just didn't foresee the possibility of that cue ball just drifting past the brown into that centre pocket. The angle was such an acute one. It was very unlikely happening, but it happened. And it tends to, under pressure, in important situations. These little things that can go wrong tend to go wrong. It's incredible.
Well, he's had it all his own way this week, but not tonight, that is for sure. 3-1 then, Higgins leads into the interval. Let's show you some action from earlier on, one of the afternoon quarterfinals between Barry Hawkins, the world number 8, and Yang Bingtao, the 18-year-old from China. It was all square earlier on, with Yang taking the first frame, Hawkins hitting back to level things. Let's join it early in frame 3.
Well, Barry decided that it'd be guaranteed position if he knocked it in and got on the pink. And what a good shot he's played there.
I've got to be honest, John, at first glance, I didn't think that was possible. I thought it was too thin to be able to get enough spin on the cue ball to get on the pink or blue. So it was a very, very good shot, that. I agree with you. I thought he was going to take that risk to play the cannon. Goes without saying the red that's causing the problems is going to be the one next to the black, so he wanted to get rid of that as soon as possible. Now, has he got an angle on this red just to pot this red and flick the red away from the black? That's what he tried to do.
Give me a second, please,
Oh, he's absolutely inch perfect. The pink won't go on its own spot, so the referee just finding the place as close as it to its own spot as he can, in a direct line with the middle of the top cushion. Doesn't affect this shot of Barry's, which, as I say, is absolutely inch perfect. Pot this red, cannon the red that's just to the left of the black. The black will be available into both corners.
Thank you.
And as he proved in the last frame, give him one chance, he can win it.
Yes, Rob Spencer officiating in this match, and a lot of good referees around now. Rob's one of them.
$15. $16.
Yeah, Barry's one of the type of break builders that prefers to pick reds off. He's very aggressive when he needs to. Now, a lot of players will be playing into the bunch here, but I don't think Barry will. But he's going to certainly have to do that. Well, maybe not. There's 3 or 4 loose reds around the pink spot area. They're all available, so he can get a 40 or 50 point lead without going into them.
24.
And we were talking this morning, John, when we were up in the players' lounge, how different players break building. You were saying that Ronnie tends not to like to play the shot from blue into the reds.
Yeah, well, I think the problem is, and I don't care how good you are, when you try to disturb the cluster, you always have to trust a little bit to luck. But in Ronnie's case, if he's got complete control of the cue ball, why bring luck into it? As Willie said, there's a couple of loose reds on the right hand side after this red and another black.
32.
Now the angle he's played on the black, he could play for one of those 2 reds in the corner, or he could go into them. I think when you go into them, off another red, you'd like a red just to be low, as he did in the last frame when he played the cannon. He had a choice of reds that he was bound to be on.
Yeah, Barry came round to have a look at that. He was itching to go into them, but he knows that he's not going to have to rely on luck in playing the shot he has. And as I said, he's got 2 more, or 3 more reds, as you can see from this next picture we're showing you there. There's 4 reds that are going to be available.
Yeah.
So virtually over the line, John, without playing the bunch.
Yeah.
40.
Yeah, you see a lot of players, they just go on automatic, don't they? And think, oh, here's a chance, I'll go into the cluster and open all the reds up. But if you don't finish up on one, then you've opened them up for your opponent. He's cued that nicely. And I say that because he hardly put any effort into that screw shot. Good signs for Barry at the moment.
Yes, you alluded to the conversation you had with Barry, or Barry had with BBC Wales, when he was saying that he's not played well, but he's won, and obviously he can improve next round. And he's improved every round so far. He's starting to look like the Barry Hawkins of old now. Very good match player, Barry Hawkins. Always seems to play well at the Crucible. And that cannon looks to be okay, I think. I know he's nearly touching the red, but surely there's one of these pots.
53.
Wouldn't have gone into them better than that.
I think what's made him stop in his track, he can clearly get through to this red, but of course the pink and black are tied up, so he's going to have to go up for blue or boat colour.
54.
And he'll be immediately trying to get onto the pink after this next red. And then it'll be normal service resumed, and definitely a chance of a very sizable break.
59. 60.
Decided to play for the blue first, but he'll get onto the pink after this next red. Like to finish dead straight on the one to the left of the bunch.
Well, maybe the pink's not as available as we think, because
65.
once again he's played on a red that's going to go back up for the blue, and as we always say, it's okay going back up for the blue, although having looked at the scoreboard now, he just needs this red and the blue. This would put him 71 points in front
66.
with just 67 remaining. And that's the result, because he's not got the right angle on the blue now, but pot the blue and it'll be snookers required. .74 break in the last frame. 71 and counting in this.
72.
Beautifully played. Now an absolute certainty, you would think, to make another century. He's made 21 this season. Made 31 last year, so he's on track to possibly beat that. There's still a few tournaments left at the moment.
79. 80.
So Yang Bintao knew he was playing an experienced player. He was just hoping that he wasn't getting him to score heavily, but he's certainly scoring heavily at the moment.
87.
Yep, and he'll learn, no matter how good you are, when you sat in that seat, there's nothing you can do about it. But this has been very impressive from Barry. Didn't seem to be at the races at all in the first frame, but he had one chance in the second frame, won it, and one chance in this.
And the beauty of it was, John, as we were talking about in commentary, he hasn't risked any lucky shot going into the bunch. Everything has been played perfect. So there's more than one way of break building, and this has been the other way.
96.
Just make sure you play on every ball properly. Excellent break so far. Very well played, Barry Hawkins. Century break number 257 in his career.
103. 104.
A little bit of work to do with the cue ball here, though. It's got not a great angle on the black, got a better angle on the pink to get onto the yellow. Looking very sharp.
110.
Clears the colours, be a break of 137.
112.
143 is still the highest, held by Mark Selby. Oh, you're shaking your head, Willie.
Yes, I think John Higgins made a 144 last night, John. I think you were in bed at the time.
I was looking for a restaurant to eat in. A 144, well done, John.
119.
Yes, total clearance is going to be, as you can see from that caption.
$124.
We knew this was going to be a very, very good match. We weren't sure of how good it was going to be, but if it goes on like this, it's going to be truly immaculate. What a fabulous clearance from Barry Hawkins. Breaks of 54 from Yang Bintao. A reply 74 and 137 from Barry Hawkins. He leads 2-1.
Yes, almost perfect stuff from Barry Hawkins then in that frame 3 with the 137, and it was the start of a complete comeback. Hawkins, the world number 8, went on to win 5-1 to reach his 4th semi-final at this tournament, and pretty pleased with his performance.
I didn't really have any tactics. I just knew I had to go out there and play well, because he's a very dangerous player, and when he gets on one, he can. Like all the top players, he can reel off frames for fun, really. So I knew I had to make sure, like most parts of my game, were was solid, and managed to do that today and keep him pretty quiet. It's always nice to get to the business end of tournaments. You want to try and win tournaments if you can, and yeah, getting through to the semi-final is always nice. But you don't want to lose in the semi-final, so I've got to go out with the same attitude again against Noppon and try and repeat that performance if I can.
Yes, Noppon Sankam, Barry Hawkins' opponent tomorrow in the first semi-final, 1 o'clock on BBC Two Wales. We'll show you that one live. Who's going to go into the semi-finals alongside those two, Dominic? We've got a fascinating session coming up between these two, O'Sullivan and Higgins. What do you make of it?
Yeah, do you know, I was just thinking, when they play this next frame now on the resumption after the interval, I wouldn't mind betting they'll be full of errors again, because it's another crucial frame. 3-2, Ronnie's right back in it. 4-1, well, you know, it's for John Higgins to lose then, you know, because Ronnie would then have to win 4 in a row, and that would be a huge ask.
And we've been poring over the stats during this interval. What catches your eye here? Maybe balls potted. John Higgins, 82. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 41.
Yes, exactly double. And total points, 293 to 154. Well, you'd expect that, of course, if somebody's holding a 3-1 advantage. When did we last see John Higgins with a safety success of 68%? Because we, as players, look at John Higgins alongside Steve Davis as being probably the greatest tacticians in the game, but Ronnie's right up there with John Higgins. But if you look at the statistics, the pot success and the safety success, if you average them out, then Ronnie's sort of on top, because his safety success is in the 80s. I think it's 87% or something, which is pretty high. So I'm a little bit surprised, I suppose, that John Higgins is so comprehensively ahead. He's not, he's 3-1 ahead,
yeah,
but he's comfortably 3-1 ahead, if you know
Before
what I mean.
we go back, let's just quickly update you what's happening on the other table, Table 2. Earlier on, we saw Gary Wilson go into a 1-0 lead in his game against Yang Bing Tao, and, well, it turned out to be that he hit back, and now Wilson, Udalus took the next two, and it's now 2-1 in that game. We'll keep you posted on that one. Time for the second session, then, of this battle between Ronnie O'Sullivan and John Higgins. You wonder whether O'Sullivan has got the stomach for a fight. He trails 1-3 against the other man who have won this competition on 4 occasions. Let's rejoin the commentary team, Darren Morgan and Willie Thorne.
Well, the interval over, John Higgins would have been absolutely delighted and somewhat bewildered, I think, to have gone into the interval 3-1 in front, having left Ronnie O'Sullivan so many chances in frame 4. On the other hand, Ronnie O'Sullivan must wonder what's gone wrong. Played flawless snooker in the Grand Prix last week. Up until tonight, has played flawless snooker again. Totally agree with Dominic. This is a massive frame. I don't expect errors in this frame. I just think somebody will win it in one visit. But who will it be? O'Sullivan to get back into the match, or Higgins to
Thank you.
get very, very close to the winning line?
Frame 5. John Higgins to break.
So John Higgins breaking off in what I believe is probably now the most important frame of the match.
Straight away, it's a attempt for Ronnie. Will he go for it or play the safety? He's gone for it, and that is the perfect finish as well. It's amazing. It's only 15 minutes, that interval, but it's amazing how it changes things. He couldn't have potted this red before the interval. He's a little bit unfortunate there. He's opened the reds, and that cue ball has just snuck in behind the red. Now, is he going to attack and go for the long blue? I think he is. And all of a sudden, this is more of a positive Ronnie O'Sullivan coming out.
14.
Now all week, like
15.
Willie said at the Grand Prix, this would have been end of frame. Obviously, different venue, different opponent.
22. 23.
Just literally hasn't got the cue ball under control at all. Good recovery though. But, you know, wasn't that shot, it was the previous shot. To leave himself half ball black over the top of the red was very disappointing. What a difference a day makes, Darren, isn't it? It's amazing how sometimes you can play great and then the next day you don't play very well. Strange.
It is, but it was starting to look really positive, wasn't it? The good long red at the start, then the blue into the yellow pocket.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 30.
Like you said, he's just not with it at the minute. It did look really positive to start, though. He caught that a lot thinner than he'd have liked, which has given Ronnie this red to the right corner. This is a little twitchy one now, though, because he won't be feeling great at this moment in time. And that's what happens. His game's just left him a little bit tonight. He wasn't far away with it, but all week they've been slotted in very easily.
Yes, I disagree with Dominic thinking it was going to be a frame that's won in one visit. Unless John Higgins wins at one visit, it certainly hasn't been for Ronnie so far. They're both missing. As Dominic suggested, it could be a scrappy fifth frame. Obviously more important for Ronnie to win it now than it is John Higgins.
He controlled that very well. Used the reds to take all the pace out of the cue ball. Going to take a good shot on the black. He's having the cue ball clean, but he knows if he can pot this black, natural angle with the cue ball will be coming across the table to either the red, to the right cushion, or the one to the left, that back into the left corner. Just got to make sure of the pot on this black, do nothing else, just play it with top.
Eight. Nine. 16. Seventeen.
John Higgins will be buzzing inside to think that he's got back into the frame and got a chance of winning it, but slightly going to array there, that positional shot. But he knows this is a chance to go 4-1 in front. It started this match with unbelievable play from both players, but it's gone very, very scrappy in the previous two. Something we didn't expect this evening. I thought it was going to be a classic. It still may be.
Five. $30.
Next
31.
3 reds should be okay. And he's got the work cut out because the 2 reds on the left hand side and the 1 tight on the cushion on the right hand side, they need to be brought into play. You'd like to get a nice angle on the blue now to just run into those 2 reds on the left hand side, albeit just in case the kiss goes wrong, he's got the red behind the pink that he may get on. Let's just see if he can develop an angle on this blue to get that cannon we're talking about. No, he couldn't. He can only just roll it in.
39.
Yes, and he's the wrong side of the blue, so he's going to be playing the next red from mid-distance. Well, he got into that cue ball. So I think he'll play the red towards the right corner instead of the one below the pink.
44.
Well, he's lining up for the one below the pink. Now this is a tester. No problem. So all of a sudden, John Higgins has found his cue action again. Might even play to just move this red off the side cushion. Oh, just dropping in behind the other one.
He wishes now he'd have played the cannon. That is a dreadful shot. Look at the smile on John Higgins'
52.
face. I mean, it was just a natural to move the red, and he's still been in the same position and have a choice of reds. He needs the reds off the cushion. It's amazing how he's refused that cannon. Very good recovery again, though. So he's 23 points in front, black 30. So he needs 2 more reds. That's why I thought he'd have played the cannon on the previous shot. He's maybe be able to play a cannon here, though. And he needs to hit it from behind, which he hasn't done. So plenty of work to do yet.
60. John Higgins, 60.
I just can't believe some of the safety I'm seeing. Okay, the reds come away from the pocket, but for 1 minute it looked like staying over the corner.
Well, you called it earlier, Will. He likes the doubles, John Higgins, and he's very competent in playing that shot. But played 2 in the last couple of frames, missed the 2 of them, but he played that in such a way. The only red he could possibly leave on was the one he was playing, so no damage done. Well, I don't really know what Ronnie is doing at the minute. He just seems to have lost the plot totally. He's having a wry smile as well. A lot of pressure out there with the 2 of these because they know each other so well. And they've got so much respect for each other. The last couple of frames have been a lot of errors from both players, which are unexpected. Well, that's his 3rd double. And it's his 3rd miss. And this time he has given Ronnie a slight chance. It's not an easy pot, but he has got a shot at it into this left centre. The far jaw, which is the worst jaw he could have hit.
But once again, done no damage. So 3 misses from Ronnie, have not left an easy pot. I just wonder if he's going to play another double. Never seen 3 on the trot from John Higgins. You'd think he'd be able to screw him behind the pink if he wanted to, but he may decide to play the double as a shot to nothing. Played him behind the pink instead. Now is he snookered him on the red nearest the pocket? I think so. Well, this red is going to be very difficult to get safe. He's going to have to try and play this, leave it away from the pocket. He hasn't got enough side on.
Foul. Miss.
This is a really strange match for me so far.
John Higgins, 4.
Yes, and without doing Ronnie a disservice, just looks like at the moment he's just lost a little bit of interest in this one. He's played a lot of half-hearted shots. Now, cue ball's gone back. That shows you now, mind, how John Higgins is thinking as well, isn't it? He was left then at relatively easy red into the left black corner. He's elected to put the cue ball back, which if Ronnie can make contact with this red and get it safe, John Higgins might regret that one.
Well, if you put the last one back, this will certainly be going back.
John Higgins 4.
So 34-point lead. If he misses this one, he'll only need red and colour. .38-point leader, I should say. This will be 42, so like it's still the same equation. Would only need red and colour should he miss it again. Well, amazingly enough, he's nearly got away with this. It was an easier pot on his first miss that John Higgins refused and hadn't put back. This is a slightly more difficult pot. He can play as a shot to nothing with the pink being where it is. And that's exactly the way he played it. Look where the cue ball is, played it as a shot to nothing.
Seven. Eight.
Well, the black missed by an awful long way, but I'm sure Ronnie's going to stay in his chair, and he does. And this has been an amazing performance the last two frames. Neither player played well, but Higgins has won them both. He goes 4-1 in front.
Yeah, so John Higgins, 4-1 in front, one frame away from knocking out Ronnie O'Sullivan and getting into the semi-finals. It's fascinating stuff. Let's take you over to table 2 and this big match between Gary Wilson and Yu Delu of China. Big game for them. They're both trying to make the semi-final of the Welsh Open for the first time. We're going to see Wilson here pop the blue and the pink and the black to take a 3-2 lead, a break of 104. So taking the last two frames, Wilson, to turn a 2-1 deficit into a 3-2 lead. But here, we're seeing Ronnie one frame away from going out of the Welsh Open. I mean, we said all week that who's going to stop Ronnie with the form that he is in, and we always felt it would be somebody like a John Higgins, who is in almost as good, if not the same kind of form as him.
Yes, absolutely. It just shows the importance of that fourth frame before the interval, doesn't it? I mean, 2-all, all to play for. Could have been just 3-2 either way now. But now it's 4-1 to John Higgins. There will be a lot of pressure now that's been lifted off Ronnie. He probably feels he's out of the match now, especially given the way he's played the last couple of frames. But the problem is, although the pressure's off Ronnie to a degree, his mind's a bit scrambled now.
Well, his mind's scrambled and he's playing with his watch as well. I don't know what he's doing here. I think he's trying to change the battery in the watch or something. Or he's gone slow, I don't know.
He's OK. Lucky he's got one of these Jaeger LeCoultre Reverso watches, so it does flip over like that.
Other watches are available.
It's a sign of anxiety, maybe. I mean, Alex Higgins was a big fidgeter in the chair, you know. He probably doesn't know what's happened to him, you know. John Higgins has put him under pressure and he just hasn't coped with that. Probably because no one's put him under pressure for a long time. He's just won the World Grand Prix, played fabulous snooker, hadn't lost a frame in this tournament going into this match. So unless you're used to being put under pressure and dealing with it, when somebody does what John Higgins has done, it comes as a bit of a shock, and you can't always respond. Not when you're playing someone like John Higgins.
And that, I guess that's just a kind of nervous energy in a way. He doesn't know, as you say, what to quite do, so he's fiddling around, and you know, here he is breaking off in this frame, possibly going out of the Welsh Open. But John Higgins, of course, has won it 4 times, going for a record 5th. Just needs one more frame.
So then, Ronnie breaking off. 4 frames left. He needs to win all 4. He's took his watch off now, so he's finished fiddling about with it, whatever he was doing. Well, he's got it back out and he's fiddling with it again. Yeah.
Maybe it's something that kicks him into gear, mind-wise. I remember years ago when Steve Davis was dominating the game, we used to have flowers around the table, and he always used to look at a certain point as if to kick his mind into gear and to get his concentration right. Maybe Ronnie's just trying to get his concentration back. There was a time when Steve Davis always used to have a little bit of paper in his pocket, and I used to think, what on earth's that? And all it was on the piece of paper was concentrate on your next shot. That was it, just to kick him into gear.
He's just not been with it tonight, and after the promising start of the first frame with his 64, it's been very disappointed for Ronnie. And he's had quite a few chances since that first frame, it has to be said, the last 2 frames especially. And most he's managed to make is 30. Well, when you think of the scoring he's been doing over the last couple of months, how prolific. It's quite unbelievable. But John Higgins will be very relieved that the Ronnie of lately has not turned up tonight. You can't even say it's due to the good play of John Higgins. He had a little spell of 2 frames where he had the 113 and the 57 and took control in this match. Other than that, I think both players will be first to agree when they come off. It's been a bit of a scrappy affair, really. Could have gone either way. He'll be quite relieved when that cue ball's finished there. He's hit that red on the wrong side. Entered it half ball the other way.
That's a handy little flick on the green, that, because he would have left this red on that's in the bottom left-hand corner, but the flick on the green is to put it behind the yellow. So this is not a straightforward safety shot. Trying to get the cue ball back into a similar position as what it is now, but he's got to be very fine on this shot. And he's got to miss the kiss on the brown on the way back. Trying to hit it that thin.
Foul, and miss. Ronnie O'Sullivan 4.
I think he'll be quite relieved that the cue ball went in the pocket. With the pace it was going, it would have come back down and given Ronnie some kind of half-ball shot. As it is, he's got a shot from distance. He's overcut the red. He's just not at the races at the minute, Ronnie O'Sullivan. And what I was saying about the cue ball, the pace John played, it could have come in and out of bulk. That's exactly what's happened to Ronnie. the moment, it's a very disappointing night for Ronnie and all his fans. I mean, John Higgins will have fans in this audience that have braved this cold weather and all the snow to come out and support. The majority of them will be here for Ronnie. And that was a very attacking shot by John Higgins. And that could have landed so perfect, and as it is, he's in trouble now.
I can't see a safety shot, Darren. I mean, that's amazing. I think he's almost going to have to risk trying to play the one cushion and hit the green, because I can't see playing off the black he can get back into ball. Or maybe two cushions at the green. This is a really tricky situation. But the frame of mind Ronnie's in, I'm not sure he can make a sizable break at the minute.
I suppose the only shot maybe he can go really thin off the black and put the cue ball towards this right corner pocket. Well, he's playing up the table, so he's probably going to try and get in behind the green. That red's gone up with the cue ball. How's his luck? How's his luck? Very good.
John Higgins, 1.
It's an unbelievable bit of good fortune. John Higgins got a little wry smile there. He thought, how on earth have I got away with that? It looked almost impossible not to leave Ronnie some sort of pot. This red still possibly passes the brown and yellow into the middle. Oh, great shot. Very good. When it rains, it pours. How unlucky is that? Ronnie can only smile. Fantastic pot. Anywhere but there, and he's got a chance to win the frame at one visit. Yes, I had some friends from Kettering who were going to come to this match tonight, but the weather's kept them away. How on earth did he try to pot
Ronnie
that
Sullivan,
when he got
1.
such a straightforward shot to leave John Higgins in trouble? At first glance, nothing straightforward.
One.
Well, that one wiped his feet as it went in, but he's nicely on the screen now. It's going to be one good positional shot. He wants to get these reds from this corner pocket, the bottom one of the two. And that's just about perfect. Other than he's going to have to get the rests out. If he can pot this red, come off the cushion and slide past the black, this will turn into a great opportunity to win this frame and close this match out with this opportunity. All about this shot. Awkward cue in. It's whether he can put enough bottom on to slide past this black. There's the answer. He's played it very, very well. So what a chance this is now.
If the score had been 4 each and the play had been very, very good, you say that John Higgins would be a certainty now to win this match. But I'm not too sure that John Higgins is playing anywhere near his normal self, but he should get at least 50 from here.
12.
I mean, it'd be a bewildered John Higgins playing, because he's thinking, well, I might win this match now 5-1. This will be going through his mind there, or I should win this match 5-1, and haven't played anything like.
13.
It's hard to see now how it can go
20.
wrong. I'm sure this crowd that have turned up all week to watch some amazing snooker from Ronnie O'Sullivan are quite bewildered how he's played this evening. I, for one, certainly am.
21.
Different proposition, though, when you're playing someone like John Higgins, Darren, isn't it? You know you're going to have to play well, and all of a sudden you start missing a few, then you start doubting yourself. And all of a sudden, Ronnie's just disappeared.
Yes, and the crowd are enthralled,
26.
but in shock as well, I would have thought. They've braved the cold weather and the snow. They come to cheer on, and idols. I mean, to be fair, I would have thought Ronnie O'Sullivan, with the way he's been playing the
27.
last couple of months, probably thought in his head he wasn't capable of a performance like this.
And it never looked like there was a performance like this in him. And that's how good he's been for the last 3 or 4 months. But this should give every player confidence. You know, I mean, we all know that Ronnie's the best player. But he has got these performances in him now and again.
$29. $30.
Slightly awkward queuing, and when you're queuing down, it's so easy to put a little bit of an unwanted side. I'm going to be careful with this one. Played it very nicely, and that freeing the pink into slightly
37.
more favourable position means he's got precious little to do now. It's just a series of little stuns and screws around the pink and black spot, and should score enough from this visit to win frame and match.
38. $43. $44.
John Higgins is probably one of the greatest of all time at closing matches out. You can't envisage there being any kind of a problem in him taking the required amount of balls that he needs now to secure this frame and match.
49.
Only a couple of shots away, or a couple of pots I should say.
$50.
So this black, I mean, Ronnie will be requiring snookers. And I think if this red goes in, that'll be the total
57.
end for this year's Welsh Open for Ronnie O'Sullivan.
58.
Well, I'm sure John Higgins was expecting a lot closer game this evening when he came into
65.
this, and after the first couple of frames I thought we were looking at probably a 5-4 either way.
66.
We certainly didn't see this coming. John Higgins will be absolutely jumping through hula hoops, so I'm pleased with the way that he's controlled his emotions, having missed lots of balls. Not like Higgins has played
73.
great. But this is just the finish
74.
you would expect from a true champion, a chance to make his second century of the match.
$81. 83.
Ronnie O'Sullivan's obviously got a lot of admiration for John Higgins, and he's one of the players he knows, along with 2 or 3 other players that can beat himself, that is.
86.
But he'd be so disappointed. I mean, I'd be interested to see what his interview's like. See whether he felt he was not at the races this evening, or just not
90.
in good concentration. The pink needed for a deserved century.
95.
Very good. John Higgins' 6th century of the tournament so far. They're smiling at each other. Both knows that they could have been a lot better. John Higgins will be absolutely delighted, though. He goes through to the semi-final with a 5-1 victory.
Yes, history in the making then perhaps for John Higgins, on course to become the first man to win the Welsh Open on 5 occasions. And, well, the rocket grounded at last. It really wasn't Ronnie's night at all, and Higgins didn't even have to be at his best, did he, to win that? But as Willie Thorne said, Dominic, I mean, you know, wow, who saw that coming? 5-1.
Sometimes things happen in a match which just causes your brain to just, you know, capitulate in a way. I mean, that match was won and lost in the mind, I think, and that the way Ronnie lost that 4th frame before the interval, I think, was the biggest reason that he struggled after the interval. For all the world, it looked 2-all, and Ronnie probably took it for granted it would be 2-all. And when that frame was just stolen away from him, he had, you know, 15 minutes just to dwell on that, and you know, knowing that he's 3-1 down against John Higgins, which is a big ask for anybody. John Higgins is so mentally strong, no matter who he plays, and you've seen it there. I mean, the guy is one of the greatest players of all time.
And in that position, Ronnie sat there watching John Higgins playing like that. Do you think he almost lost the stomach for the fight?
No, I don't. I think if Ronnie could have won that 5th frame, the one after the interval, he'd have been right back in the match. And there was a lot of pressure on him to perform. He started the 5th frame fantastically well, but he just played I wouldn't say I don't like to use the word careless, but OK, careless position shot. He let himself awkward queuing over a red to pot the black. Could only pot the black, couldn't put any spin on the cue ball, landed out of position. It caused him to end his break early when he could have made it 3-2.
Before we hear from John Higgins, let's just take you back to table 2 briefly and update you on what's happening there. This is Gary Wilson against Yu Delu, and 3rd century of the night for Gary Wilson there. He's got a big one, a 1-2-4 to go 4-2 in front. So if he is heading into the semi-finals, as seems likely, then he's going in style. John Higgins is here. John, many congratulations.
Cheers.
Well done. You know, it wasn't Ronnie's night, but it certainly was yours. I mean, how do you feel?
It was a weird game. Just like the weather we're having. I think it's just fair play to the crowd that came, because it's treacherous out there. So it just felt quite flat. I was right up for the game and had a couple of chances the first frame. Then Ronnie took it, and then I thought I played pretty well to go 2-1. But then the 4th frame was just mistakes galore, wasn't it? And
do you think winning that, John, was the reason you won the match?
Well, that was massive, that frame.
Yeah.
He's very unlucky. He's potted the green and he's...
He tries to cannon the brown, hasn't he? He's drifted past it, went in off in the middle pocket.
And how it's went in the middle, I'll never know. And then I potted the green, tried the double. Yeah. Then he's left it on, and I potted a good brown to leave myself on the blue. So
we don't want to take anything away from your performance. Did you sense though that Ronnie wasn't at it tonight?
Yeah, it was weird that he looked good when he was in. A couple of frames that he was on 30 or 40, I think, and then he just missed something that you just would never expect him to miss. And then that puts you in the back foot a little bit, because you're sitting there getting yourself maybe ready for the next frame, and then you're thinking, God, we've got another chance here. So yeah, it was just one of the games.
And you felt the atmosphere was a bit flat, you thought?
Yeah, it's understandable.
Not quite a full house.
Yeah, understandable. I think people are sitting there thinking, why am I out here watching this?
In this weather.
I should be in the house. So, yeah, pretty flat. But yeah, listen, brilliant. I mean, you've got to always savour the wins against Ronnie.
Yeah, but listen, you know, you've won this trophy 4 times, and you're just 2 wins away from making history, becoming the first man to win it 5 times. How you know, I wouldn't use the word desperate, but how keen are you to do that? Because you wouldn't imagine that that is a record that's going to be broken for quite a long time.
Yeah, well, you know, you're obviously keen to win any tournament. So it just so happens I've won this 4 times. It'd be amazing if I could win it the 5th time. But I think me winning that match now, being honest, everybody else is going to look at that now thinking they've got a great chance of winning. No disrespect to myself, but everybody would probably be thinking Ronnie was a 1 favourite to win this event. So when the foreign man's went out, it maybe puts a little bit more pressure on everybody else, because then they're thinking, right, I've got a great chance to win. So we'll see how it pans out.
Don't do yourself down though, because you've been in pretty good form this week. You might not have been at your best tonight, but you've been in good form throughout the week.
Yeah, no, a couple of matches were a bit ropey, but some other matches I played really well. So it looks as if I can maybe play Gary Wilson, and he beat me the last time we played in Northern Ireland. So I know how dangerous a player Gary is.
Looks like it's going to be him, doesn't it?
And then I seen a bit of Barry Hawkins today, and he looked great today. So he looks as if he's near back to his best. And Nopon, such a dangerous player. I've played him a few times, and he's a dangerous player, and he just maybe needs a little bit of confidence to get him over the line. But he's a great talent as well, Nopon.
We were watching with interest just that monitor down there at Ronnie fiddling away with his watch during the game, and it's always fascinating to look at the body language. I just wonder what he said to you at the end as well.
He just asked me if I get any tips. He's won I don't know many tournaments, and then he says, can I get a loan of some of the tips that you use? And I was just laughing, thinking,
you mean Q-tips or
yeah,
tips on how
Q-tips? No, Q-tips.
Q-tips, I hope.
So, yeah. I don't know why. It's just
you never know what Ronnie's going to come out with. He took his watch off. He's got one of these reverso watches. He's flipping it round.
What kind of watch is it, Dom? You must know.
Oh, it's a Jaguar Cultural Reverso. He's had it for to steal one, and he just keeps flipping it over.
You need to put an offer in for it, Dom.
It's a bit. Hey,
you need to put an offer in.
Oh, he's got better ones than that.
He's already plugged it once. Don't do it again. I mean, just finally, John. I mean, it's going to be a big weekend for you once again. Just coming up to the age of 43, you've won what 32 ranking titles. I mean, what just keeps you going?
I think Ronnie's won 32. I think I've only won 28 or 29.
No, you've won more than Ronnie now.
What, ranking titles?
Yes, I believe so.
No, Ronnie's won. No, Ronnie. I think we were.
But anyway, what keeps you going, John?
Yeah, just try to win, try to provide for the family, try to just do things, just play. I love playing tournaments, and listen, that's just all you can do.
But you told me you don't practice as much as you used to. But I think John's quite a little more vulnerable early on in tournaments, but once he's had a couple of wins on his belts, had hours on the table, you're good as ever, aren't you, really?
That's what I've always said, Dom. I think if I can get through a few rounds, and the 1-2-8 format can maybe help the likes of myself, because if you get into the meat of a tournament, you've played a few matches and then you feel a lot more confident, whereas when I'm back home, I very rarely put the work in, but we've got a busy season, so that's...
And you're spot on with the stats, John. You're on 29 ranking titles, so well done.
I wish I was on 32.
You should know. You should know. Listen, looks like you're going to play Gary Wilson. Good luck for the weekend.
Thanks very
much. Well done, John. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you to you, Dominic. And just to tell you what's coming up then over the course of the weekend, the semi-finals. We know that it's going to be Barry Hawkins playing Nopon Sangyam tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and then John Higgins against either Gary Wilson or Yu Delu tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on BBC Two Wales. And then tonight we'll be back at 11:05 to round up all of the action on quarter-final day. Thanks very much indeed then for your company. We're now going to hand you over to BBC Network's coverage of the World Indoor Athletics Championships in Birmingham. Bye for now.